We have a public hearing today, 10 o'clock. The time has come for that. I'll begin by reading the notice of public hearing. The Board of Bonneville County Commissioners will hold a public hearing on April 19th, 2023 at 10 a.m. via Zoom in the Bonneville County Courthouse, 605 North Capitol Avenue, for the purpose of vacating lots, roadways within Telford Park, Division 2, First and Second Amended plats. The general location of Telford Park, Division 2, First and Second Amended plats, Bonneville County, Idaho, located near the southerly end of Haroldsen Drive. It's got a legal description, and this was published April 5th and 12th, 2023. So those present are all three commissioners. We have staff from Road and Bridge, Public Works, and Planning and Zoning. So who's presenting the vote, David?
I guess I had a little bit. Kayla, could you start that up? So this is a proposed vacation of portions of Telford Park, Division 2, First and Second Amended, submitted by Quality Steel Incorporated. There is their petition to vacate, the reason they were wanting to vacate.
Which is, do you want to read that? My glasses aren't quite.
Yeah, I'll have to read this. So the legal description they are wanting to vacate is Christensen Circle, the public utility easement adjoining that road, lots 7 through 12, block 3 of the First Amended Telford Park, and lot 7, block 3 of the Second Amended.
But the reason, what's the reason?
Well, the reason, property that's never been developed, the roadway hasn't been developed, and the owners would like to make it into one individual lot rather than a bunch of lots for their personal use. This map here, the highlighted area, shows the portions they're wanting to vacate in the First Amended plat. And I will note that the public utility easement that is along the east side of Haroldsen, that has not been requested to be vacated. That needs to remain. There are public utilities in that easement already. Next slide. This is the Second Amended. There's only one lot in that, and again the easement, public utility easement along Haroldsen will remain. The next slide is an aerial view of what they would like to have vacated. Christensen Circle and the surrounding lots. Okay, next one. 9 adjoining property owners within 300 feet were notified, certified mail, return receipt requested. All but one returned a receipt, and that was the owners, the Claytons. Utility companies were also notified, certified mail. One receipt was not returned, and that was from Lumen Technologies. And I added them. I have a list of 4 main utilities. When I called the dig line for the facilities request, they were not listed, but I sent them a letter anyway. Notice was published in the Post Register on April 5th and April 12th, 2023. I had one response from an adjoining landowner, Stan Gilbert. He just wanted an explanation of what they were trying to do. Said he had no concerns with the proposal. Utility company that responded was Bill Braybeck with Rocky Mountain Power. He said that they did have power in the easement along Haroldsen and had no issue with it as long as those easements remain. That's all I have. The owner and their representative are on Zoom, so I don't know if you have anything else you want to add.
No, nothing else. And did we miss anything, Camille?
I don't know if this meeting allows for us to discuss the road improvements on the county's side.
No, this is for the purpose of vacating that particular road, which apparently it hasn't been improved and accepted by the county, correct?
Okay.
Christensen Circle has not, no.
Right.
Then no, if that is not the time or place, then no, I have nothing else. I think you guys touched on everything.
You're welcome to stay online after the hearing, you know, if you've got concerns on the public road to raise with Road and Bridge.
Yes, please. I'd appreciate that.
Okay. So, your purpose of doing this? I mean, why are you want to combine it in one? Is the business you've got in there, you're just going to use the whole parcel for the business?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Members of the public, do you have any input?
No, we're good.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to add for the
That's
record?
all I had.
Okay. With no other public input, we'll call the hearing to a close. Lance or David will put together some proposed findings, usually take a couple weeks. And that'll be held in a public meeting, but not a public hearing. We won't take any other input during normally the Road and Bridge hour, which is every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Okay, so with that, we'll close the public hearing. Now the concerns you have.
Yes. I don't know if this is who I should bring this up with. However, if this is not the right avenue, please route us in the right way. The owners, the Clayton Brothers, when they purchased this land, their title company excluded any of the development agreements. When I did inquire and receive those development agreements, the amended agreement number 1 and 2, it discussed road improvements, and I just want to clarify, because the agreements were not technically followed through. And so I'm trying to determine what my client truly is liable for in bringing the road, the county road, in front of their property up to quote unquote county standards.
You're
Because
talking Drive?
Correct.
Okay.
So Haroldsen Drive, through this section, has never been installed to a county standard or accepted for county maintenance. And in order to get a building permit, whether this is one lot or multiple lots on the existing, they're going to have access onto a county approved road system.
So the county road stops at their property?
The county
Hasn't
road,
been improved?
Haroldsen Drive essentially stops at the north end of their property. And if they want to develop this now one big lot, they're going to have to continue Haroldsen Drive and make Haroldsen Drive a county road.
Because I thought about a question when you were showing us the plat. There is another lot at the bottom, which is to the south.
Yeah.
Can you bring up that map again, Kayla?
So, not that I am a lawyer or interpret laws well. However, the Idaho laws, to my understanding, state that the development agreement has to be followed through and the plat has to be recorded. If the plat is recorded and accepted, which they both were, showing the roads, then that property must, within the development agreement, have been brought up to standards. And in the agreement, it says 12 months.
But it never was.
But it never was. So I'm just trying to figure out who's really liable,
And then you can say that.
what those costs will be, because as I mentioned, in the development agreement, it refers to the escrow company and the heirs of the property, or whoever owns the property, whoever gets the property after the developer, and that it's their quote unquote legal responsibility. However, like I said, neither of the development agreements have been completed and followed through with. And so I'm just trying to figure out a path forward with that. Because as there was mentioned, there is a property to the south that has been there since 2009, and they have not brought up any of the road. I did speak to the owner of that property, and he said that he was aware that this is something that might be come up, but he said he was not going to develop the entire road to his property. He would just develop the road in front of his property when that took place.
And that's typically what happens on this, but Lance, you had clarification on the.
So, Telfer Park 2, First Amendment, Second Amendment, was never asked for conditional acceptance by the county. And so since they never asked for conditional acceptance, no building permits were ever asked or requested. And so there was never any road built. There was never, that portion of Haroldsen Drive was not constructed nor accepted for maintenance.
So am I understanding that the building owner to the south doesn't have a building permit to build his road, his building there?
So he may have received a building permit at some time in the past. Whether he should have or not is a question that I'm not sure I can answer. Why he was, when he got a building permit, I'm not sure.
I'd have to look into it.
So is that, so I'm understanding correctly, is that the question, is the owner to the, is it south? Received a building permit, but why was he not required to build his portion of the road?
Why was he not required to build his portion of the road? I don't know. And that is the question. I don't know why he was allowed to get a building permit without Haroldsen Drive being built.
So that brings up the question is, why should these property owners be penalized?
They're not
They're-
being penalized. Their agreement was they had to build like any other developer. They had to build a road in front.
If they want to develop their ground, they need access to a county-approved road.
Right.
So they're not talking about, I think what she said is the guy at the end of the road wasn't gonna build the one in between in front of their property to get to his. Which
Right.
we normally don't require anyway.
So I'm the guy at the end of the road.
Okay,
I can tell you what happened from our perspective.
state your name and address.
Yeah, come on up and join us so they can hear you.
I was trying not to come, join you, but I can see you, we might need to. So my name is Craig Johansson. I'm the owner of Mountain West Dairy Service. And we are the building that is at the end of the road. What we were told was that, the road section of where the county road ends now and where our property begins, that we would not be responsible for developing that part of the road, but that we would be responsible for developing the road of where our road frontage sets where the road will be. So I mean, where our boundary lines are, we would be responsible to pay for the road to build in front of our facility for that. But we're told we wouldn't have to do that until the rest of the road came down, till the rest of the road was finished at that point. Does that make sense to
I'm
anybody?
not sure that,
I'll have to look
Are
and see
you-
what the permit says.
are you trying to get a building permit, or did you get a
His
building
building.
permit?
We did, we had
So
a building
you got a
permit.
building
We
permit,
did.
and what, do you remember when that was?
It would have been back in '09.
Okay, and at that time, the requirement should have been to improve Haroldsen Drive to county standard in order to get a building permit.
But it didn't, I guess, we were never told that we would be responsible to develop the entire road from where the pavement stops and to where our property starts. We were told that we would be responsible for the pavement of where our road frontage, where the county road crosses our property boundary, that we would be responsible for that.
Which,
And I don't know how here in '09, but it should have been that you were told that in order to get a building permit, you need access to a county approved road. And in order to get it to your portion, you would have had to improve that portion of Haroldsen Drive to get it to your land.
We were never told that.
I'm not saying that you were, I'm saying that you should have.
Anyway, right.
So,
hey, Lance,
There's some residential.
if you don't mind me just speaking again, so as far as the Clayton Brothers go, they're, the person that they bought the property from did not disclose that. Their title company did not disclose that and excluded specifically in their insurance package that all of the development agreements were excluded, any verbiage. However, when I did access those development agreements via Bonneville County, thank you, the agreements themselves state that the escrow company and any of the owners must follow along. They must be informed and they must follow that development. Where I'm saying there is just some major gray areas is the fact that that was not disclosed to our owners, and the fact that the development agreements have not been followed at all. So I guess moving forward,
Have you
my
spoken?
understanding, both Craig and the Clayton Brothers are willing to work with the county. However, me as representing them as their client, I don't believe it is fair for them to have to pay for 100% of it.
Have you spoken to the title company? Because when they did the title search and guaranteed title, it did not include that. I'm not sure you wouldn't have an issue to work out with them, for not disclosing.
Okay,
But that gets into a legal area we'd have to visit with our legal counsel on, but that's my understanding of why you go through a title company and get title insurance.
right, absolutely. However, it was excluded, and
Are you representing them as an attorney, or
I'm sorry, what?
are you representing the Claytons as their attorney, or?
Oh, no, I'm not an attorney by any means.
All right.
We are developing their property for them, and I am just trying to do my due diligence to make
Yeah.
sure that we're following the rules, but that everything is fair.
Okay, if you'll give us a chance to do the research and dig up the building permits and, get the history of it, because both Austin and Lance are new. They weren't here in 2009, so we'll have to just dig up the records we got, and maybe you could visit with them.
I
Okay.
think David has visited with them about that
Right.
road frontage being required in order to develop. I think that's what the conversation.
That's what our
has been.
development agreement says, which it sounds like they're aware of now, but it wasn't disclosed by the title company. It's the way I understand it.
Correct,
So-
and it was specifically excluded in the title company's
Maybe
documentation.
whatever the permit required there. Did you say there's a house at the end of that also?
Yes. There's a residential house there, the Tolberts.
I think it's
Gary
been
Tolbert.
there for quite a
Yeah, they've
few
been there
years.
for quite some time.
Yeah, he's lived there forever.
So it might have had something to do with the access to that. Is that part of the property you own?
No,
No, they're south of us.
yeah.
Well, anyway, on yours, we're gonna have to dig up the history of the building permit. You can visit with Austin on that.
So, yeah, theirs is, if you have the second amended plat, it's these 3 lots right here, or there's a house right here, or house right here.
Go down to the colored picture.
It's that
He's still there.
right at the end.
That's still the house.
So that
It's
little
just
piece
out
to
of
the
picture
west.
Right there.
All the houses.
He sold the whole.
Oh, it's right here.
Isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Yes, that's their house.
That's their house.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Where's your property? Is it all the other?
So ours is like a property that is like shaped like a boot.
So this is Mountain West Dairy property right here and right here. This is the Tolberts land right here. These 2 divisions, the Tolberts just recently sold off. I'm not quite sure who the owners are of these 2 properties right here, but the Tolberts did just recently sell that off last year. And so there are 2 new owners of these 2 pieces of property here. But this is us right here and this is us. So this is our frontage of the road right there.
And Clayton's are looking to develop all the property in blue?
And they're looking to develop all of this, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like
We'll have to do some research.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions on that?
No, will I be contacting Lance about that again?
Yeah, I'll be in contact with you.
Okay,
David Romrell, who you've been working with. I need to speak louder, don't I?
yeah,
Yeah, David Romrell.
okay,
We work with. So, okay, thanks.
thank
I
you.
do have one question real quick.
Sure.
Whether whoever's paying for it, what type of road does the county require there if we were to change it from the gravel road that's there existing?
So the existing Haroldsen Drive is mostly 28-foot top with swells on the side. And that's what's gonna be required. I don't think we'd change that to curb gutter and sidewalk or anything like that. So 28-foot top, it is a commercial subdivision. So your cross sections are gonna be 4 inches of asphalt, 6 inches of 3/4, 18 inches of pit run.
Okay.
Swell on both sides.
Okay, good, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, what else we got?
Thanks.
Well, I guess we can start here. Here's the 6 acres development agreement, final.
Where's that?
It's about a mile south of the Taylortown site, south of 137, south.
If we're done with this, is it okay if we go?
Yep.
Let me answer for that.
Oh, we thought we'd make you pay your dues and sit and listen to this for another hour.
I probably should, but I'm trying to sneak out. Thank you.
It's
So
a,
if you contact them, you wanna contact us as well, and let us know the plans for the whole area and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We'd like to get the improvement done as well in front of our place.
Yeah, 'cause he's gotta find out how you gotta build it.
Okay.
It's
That's an ag density plat, Roger. So they were just splitting off that so they could do 1 acre instead of 10 acres. To fit it in the pivot corner.
Yeah, it's a pivot corner, and we also
Okay, thank you
didn't
very much.
require them to do arterial road improvements.
Did or did not?
We did not, just because of what it is, where it is. It's clear at the far south end of the county, hardly any traffic there. And so we did put in as a special condition that when it is required, they're gonna have to participate in the cost of the improvements. So we don't have any improvement drawings associated with this right now.
Yeah.
Is this road maintained by the county at all?
I think
The
they've
gravel portion.
occasionally graded it, but really, we stop here. Yeah. It's,
Is it dedicated?
it is dedicated as part of the plat, and as part of this vacation, it still stays there as a dedicated file road.
The only reason I can think of that they would have issued a permit on that is if they would have said that, yes, it's a county maintained road. Who knows what they said back then?
Yeah.
There's nothing in the file, I just looked through the file.
As part of this Telfer Park, it was platted, and so
Well, it
if
seems-
all they did is look at the plat, then, well, it's platted.
It seems like the people that platted this lot that haven't built the road were having a lot of issues because they parked in the right of way and filled it up and made parking lot out of it and did
Yeah.
not want to improve it. So when they sold out,
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, to me, they've still gotta do the improvements regardless. I don't know why that other permit got issued the way that it did, but we're here today and
So they're basically contending that it should have already been approved
It should have always
because there was the
been,
lot that was
yes.
developed beyond them.
And I don't know why I looked through the file and there's no
Well, the
notation on that.
whoever it was that did not include that agreement was kind of fighting it,
Yeah,
you know, because they needed more parking. And so they just kept filling that up with parking, and I know Steve went around with them
yep.
a few times.
And this one is Panorama Hills Division Beta 3. It's a one lot subdivision around a water tank, I believe.
Yeah, they're building a new water tower to upgrade their water system and their pressure, so we made a plat up to dedicate it to the Panorama Hills Water Company. So that we don't have any more issues up there, somebody building some infrastructure and the resources of it ending up somewhere else.
They got most of those solved, that road.
I don't think they've got most of them solved yet.
Do they have any of them solved?
Not 100%.
Trimmed the trees in the road?
What was that?
Have they trimmed the trees that are growing in the road?
I think they trimmed most of the trees, but they just kind of cut them off at the top of asphalt, so I don't think they got rid of the root system.
It is improvement though, cause this is the tower that was shown on the 1970 plans that was never built, that they needed to build.
And next is conditional acceptance for Gem Lake Harbor. Yeah.
I don't see Doyle, so he must have got stuff done. So what, the final result from his engineer, he got the mistake of his program corrected?
He got the as-built corrected,
Okay.
but he did admit that he didn't look at our standards when he went through and designed this stuff, and so as far as I'm concerned, You ought not to be certifying something built to county standards when you didn't look at our standards.
Well, and he just went to the default program standard.
Yeah,
And it sounds like he didn't even look at that. Well, he looked at it enough to change your standard.
yeah.
So
So
he changed it back.
he
The
did
actual
change it back.
testing. Okay,
He has certified that at the higher levels, although he did not take any concrete tests himself. He relied on the people delivering the concrete to the site to take any test whatsoever.
is that it? That happens occasionally.
It
doesn't it?
happens occasionally, it shouldn't happen, because the engineer certifying that should be taking tests and doing quality control on it.
Because he probably charged for that.
Well, he may have charged for it, he may not have, but in order to certify that it met the standards, that should be part of a responsible charge.
We'll let him take that up with the engineering board.
And then the last one, Dr.